Hey folks, this is Kalani. Season 2 of The War Within is finally here, bringing us a whole bunch of extra content to jump into. There are so many new ways to gear up, there's new story content to complete, and so many rewards to chase after. But with everything opening up at once, it can be hard to decide what to get done first. So in this video, we're going to go over what new stuff there is to do, and what you should do first to make sure you don't miss out on any big rewards in this first week. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. The first thing I would recommend everybody do is pick up the new Spark quest next to the Catalyst if you didn't do that already. Our Season 2 Sparks are called Sparks of Fortunes, and they'll let us craft gear up to item level 675. In Season 2, pretty much everyone can get to this item level thanks to the Delve updates that allow you to reliably get gilded crests, which are used to upgrade Spark crafted gear to its highest item levels. To complete this quest, we need to pick up our first Fractured Spark of Fortunes, which leads us into the next task. There are a lot of weekly activities and quests that will reward you with a cache of goodies when completed. You've got the Urge to Surge weekly quest in Undermine, that one can be picked up in the Hotel Hub. There's the Theatre Troop event on the Isle of Dawn, the Awakening the Machine event in the Ringing Deeps, and the Spreading the Light event in Hallowfall. If you played in Season 1, these will all be familiar. All of them reward an updated cache, so doing these events is still worthwhile. The Awakening the Machine event was actually updated, and you can now have less downtime if you opt for a challenge, so that event is much faster to complete. We also have the weekly quests in Dornagal that reward you with a pinnacle cache. There's the World Soul weekly quest, the Titan Archive quest, and the Delve quest. All three of these seem to be available at the same time, and they each reward you with a pinnacle cache. The first one you complete will also reward you with a Fractured Spark of Fortunes. I haven't seen them come from any of the other weekly quests yet, so you'll need to complete at least one of these pinnacle cache weekly quests to get your crafting sparks. Then there is also a special assignment world quest in Undermine that rewards you with a cache with the same rewards. You need to do a few world quests to unlock it first, but that shouldn't take too long. Now the first two caches that you earn will contain item level 623 pieces of gear, which will be a good upgrade for anyone who didn't do endgame group content like Mythic plus dungeons or raids during Season 1. That gear can be upgraded up to item level 645 using your Valor Stones and Crests, which should be a good upgrade for pretty much every player in this first week, so those weekly caches are a good quick source for early gear upgrades. The first 4 caches that you open will contain restored coffer keys. These keys are needed to get the best rewards out of the Delve system, so everyone will want to get 4 of these weekly caches every week if you plan on gearing up through Delves. And then any caches that you get after that will still reward you with Valor Stones and Carved Crests, so they're still worth doing even if they don't reward you with any more gear or coffer keys. As long as you do the World Soul weekly quest, or one of the weekly quests that rewards a pinnacle cache, you should be able to hand in that Spark quest, get your free Fractured Spark from it, combine the two together, and you'll have your first Spark of Fortunes. You can then use that Spark to get some item level 645 gear crafted right away. Just make sure your item is crafted at rank 5. Which item you craft is going to be up to you. I would check your class guide on Wowhead to see what items they recommend crafting first, and which embellishments to use. It may be a good idea to wait until you have 2 whole sparks if you use two-handed weapons, or just waiting until you've done a bit of gearing up in Season 2. So crafting your item towards the back end of this week, or holding onto your spark for a couple of weeks, could be beneficial. It just depends on how quickly you want to benefit from that piece of spark crafted gear. We should get another Fractured Spark every week, so we're looking at 1 piece of spark crafted gear every 2 weeks from this point onwards. This is a great time to pop by the new world boss in Undermine and kill it for a chance at some useful loot. The way this world boss rewards gear will be different from previous patches or seasons. You are guaranteed a piece of item level 642 war-bound gear on your first kill per week for your account. So you can trade this gear to any of your characters, but you're not guaranteed to get something your current class can use. So you will get a piece of gear every single week, but it's only once per account, and it might be an upgrade for an alt instead of your main. If you play multiple characters, this should be great, but if you don't, this could get really frustrating. But it is still a chance for a big early upgrade, and it doesn't take very long at all. You will also want to complete the rest of the main story campaign that became available with the start of Season 2. There aren't any huge gear rewards from most of the chapters, but the very last quest in the storyline asks you to head into the raid and defeat Gallywix. That quest will reward you with an enchanted ruined undermine crest, which can be used to upgrade your spark crafted gear up to item level 658. So if you're able to take down Gallywix anytime soon, that's a huge free upgrade for your spark crafted gear. Completing the story quests also unlocks the Undermine campaign skip for your account, so you'll also be able to skip over the whole thing and get straight into the seasonal content without you having to work through all of those story quests yet again. If you're worried about not being able to take down Gallywix this week, don't worry too much. Next week the story mode opens up for the raid, which is basically a free kill on Gallywix to progress this quest specifically, so you only have to wait until next week at the very latest to get this quest completed. From here, you're going to want to look at the new gearing options and seasonal content that became available this week. You can jump into Delves, Mythic Plus dungeons, or the new raid, depending on whether you want to take part in group content or not. But before we jump into seasonal content, if your gear is a little bit lacking, maybe you didn't play too much in Season 1, or you just didn't get very far, you can pick up some item level 629 gear very easily to kickstart your adventure. All you need are weathered undermine crests. You can turn 30 crests into one piece of 629 gear by buying enchanted weathered crests at this vendor next to the crafting order clerk, then use those enchanted crests when crafting blue gear, and it can go up to item level 629. This is super easy if you have the professions yourself, but if you don't, just set up a crafting order for blue gear and pop the enchanted crest in. You can also choose the stats on this gear by using a missive, so make sure you pick your best stats to make this gear even better. Sadly, the flying orbs seem to have been nerfed and no longer reward weathered crests. Hopefully this changes back, but until then you can still do world content like price surge events, heroic dungeons drop weathered crests as well, LFR boss kills drop weathered crests, and then early delve tiers drop them as well. So you're going to get quite a few of these if you're playing the game. Just remember that you can turn 30 crests into another piece of gear if you're still struggling to fill in some of your lower item level slots. With those quick, easy sources of gear squared away, it's time to hop into Delves. You want to talk to Bran in Dornegal to get the seasonal quest started, find out what happened to his hat, and then grab your seasonal Delve mount, the Delver's Gobtrotter. We'll be earning all kinds of customizations for this one as you progress through your seasonal journey. Now your tier progression from Season 1 doesn't carry over into Season 2, so we'll need to unlock all of our tiers again, starting from Tier 4. To unlock a higher tier, you need to complete a delve on the tier below it with some lives remaining. You can do whatever delves you want on the highest available tier and just progress naturally, but the fastest way to climb through the delve tiers is to choose a super fast or easy delve and repeat that delve until you reach the desired tier. The sinkhole in Hallowfall is pretty quick and easy most of the time, the new side street sluice delve in Undermine seems like a good option too, and Takrathan Abyss is a good one as well. You mainly just want to avoid doing bountiful delves until you have tier 8 unlocked. Honestly, any delve that you find quick and easy will do just fine, and you can repeat the same delve over and over again and just increase the tier or difficulty as you unlock them, and you're going to be tier 8 in no time. If you start to struggle at all, don't forget to play around with Bran's roles. He might serve you better as DPS, heals, or tank, so if you hit a wall, try a different role and see if that helps. You'll also be collecting new curios along the way, so try out different curios as well. Bountiful delves have a special chest at the end of them which requires one of those restored coffer keys that we picked up earlier to open. These locked chests contain much better rewards, especially gear rewards, and they cap out at item level 639, which comes from tier 8 bountiful delves or above. Our restored coffer keys are strictly limited, so ideally you don't want to use any of your restored coffer keys until you get to tier 8. Completing tier 8 delves will also max out your delve reward row in the weekly vault, giving you some item level 649 rewards after the weekly reset, so you'll want to get at least 2 tier 8 delves done to ensure you have a good reward waiting for you on Tuesday. Season 2 is a little different from Season 1 in that tiers 9, 10 and 11 do offer better crest rewards this time, so if you want to maximize your crests from delves, you'll need to keep pushing and unlock those higher tiers of delves as well, though that might be a bit out of reach until you get some good gear upgrades under your belt. Tier 11 bountiful delves will reward 7 gilded crests 3 times per week, so if you can get up to that point this week, you'll get 21 gilded crests to work with. It's important to note that you do not need coffer keys to get these gilded crests, so don't feel like you have to save any keys after you get to tier 8 delves. Another huge part of delve rewards are tied to the Delver's Bounty maps. These are a random drop from the end of your delves. You can get one map per week, and there is bad luck protection built in here, so as long as you keep running delves, you will eventually get your map for the week. When used, your next delve run will contain an extra treasure chest with up to item level 649 gear if used on a tier 8 delve, so don't use maps below tier 8 if you want to maximize your rewards. The rewards from this map depend on the tier of delve you complete with the map active, not the tier that the map dropped on. At least that's what the item in-game says. So you don't have to worry about getting a map early or anything like that, just don't use your map until you can complete a tier 8 delve or above. Now there is a special item that you can pick up called the Wave Scrambler 2000, which can be purchased from the delve vendor for 2000 undercoins. This item will summon the underpin to your delve, who is the new Zekvia for season 2, and if you can get him down to 50% health, he drops a big pile of loot and runs away. He's supposed to drop this pile even if you die and he runs away as well, so you don't have to fight him if you don't want to, but the main point is that pile of loot will always contain a Delver's Bounty map if you haven't gotten one already that week, and it can also include an item level 639 piece of gear. So that's one way to get an extra piece of loot and guarantee your map drop so you don't have to grind delves all day every day. You should be able to afford this item in the first week as long as you run your bountiful delves, and you can only use it after you've reached the checkpoint stone for the current delve, so as soon as you have 2000 undercoins, I would definitely go pick this up. And remember that delves can be done solo, but you can also do them in a group if you prefer, or if you just start to struggle by yourself. There are usually a lot of groups setting up for delves, and everyone will be in the same boat right now, so don't be scared of jumping into the group finder if you want some company while you delve. Now, if you would prefer to jump into dungeons, that's perfectly fine as well. Remember that Mythic 0 dungeons will be more rewarding in Season 2, so that's a perfect place to start your dungeoneering adventures. Mythic 0 bosses now drop item level 636 gear, which is 1 of 8 champion, giving it some huge upgrade potential. Doing Mythic 0 dungeons and getting some Valor Stones and crests is a viable way to gear up early on. It's also worth noting that jumping into the Mythic Plus Keystone system should be much easier in Season 2 as well. The dungeons themselves have received a lot of changes and nerfs. The damage and health scaling as you increase your key level will be lower in Season 2 when compared to Season 1, so dungeons will just be easier as you work your way up the key levels, and then you also won't even have any affixes until key level 4, giving you a chance to just get used to the dungeons and the timer without any other weird additions for you to think about. Plus 2 keys now also drop runed crests right away, so farming runed crests to upgrade your gear will be so much easier this season as well. You can run Mythic Plus dungeons as often as you want, so they're a great source of gear if you've done all of the dungeons on Mythic 0 for the week, or if you just fancy pushing your keys and getting better loot. There are no limits on Mythic Plus Keystone loot even in the first week of the season, so you can go all the way up to plus 10 keys and get item level 655 gear from every dungeon run. You can also pop into the new raid to grab yourself some shiny gear. The higher the difficulty you do, the better the loot is going to be, but even if you don't have a group or a guild to run the higher difficulties with, the looking for raid option opened up this week as well. The first 2 bosses are available, and they're both actually tier set bosses too, with some other interesting loot options as well. So hopping into LFR could be worth your time if you get lucky. You could get 2 set bonus just from those 2 bosses. More LFR bosses become available every week until the entire raid is open, so as the weeks go by you'll be able to pick up more tier gear, more trinkets and more special raid loot. Killing bosses in LFR will also contribute to your raid renown track, so you don't have to do the raid on higher difficulties to earn all of these rewards. There are bonuses in here that make the raid easier, so the more you do the raid, even on LFR, the easier it's going to become, and there are plenty of cosmetic and collectible rewards to pick up as well. That's pretty much all the big new stuff, and the order I would encourage you to check things out. At this point, it's just down to what you have fun with. If you're more of a solo player, master the delves and unlock all the tiers to max out your rewards. You can go really far with just delves this season. Dungeons are shaping up to be a lot of fun as well, and the seasonal changes made things much easier. So even if you're not typically a dungeon person, I would poke your toes in to see if you can find some fun there this season. The raid is the least changed in terms terms of fun or exciting new stuff. The raid renown track is cool, but it only really helps you inside of the raid. There are some very powerful special items in the raid though, and of course getting your tier set gear earlier is always nice. So there are rewards worth chasing after in the raid, but delves and dungeons saw the most changes in Season 2, so I would maybe focus your efforts there to start with. But that's what to do first in the Season 2 of War Within, so that's it for this video. What content are you going to be focusing on first? Getting your tier 8 delves unlocked to maximize those rewards, or jumping into other group content for faster gearing options? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.